Hey guys, what's up? Happy New Year. I hope you're all doing very well. This is my first video of 2019 and it feels so good to be back. I've had a cold for the last 2 or so weeks. It was terrible, but I'm finally feeling so much better. And I'm especially excited about filming today's video because I am finally trying the new Fenty Beauty concealers. I say finally, even though they literally just launched last Friday. And let me tell you, whether or not I had a cold or not, I was the first person at my Sephora there to pick up my Fenty Beauty concealers. And when I was ringing up or at checkout, they were like, you are the first person to be getting any of these Fenty Beauty concealers. I was there before they had even put them on display. I'm sure many of you guys know I am a huge fan of the Fenty Foundation. It works really well for my skin type. If you're new to my videos, I have an oily combination skin type, controls my oils really well. I feel flawless when I have it on. And I think the only complaint, and I'm sure a lot of you guys already know what's coming with this one, is that I could not find my perfect match. And I know when Fenty Foundations came out, they launched 40 shades. It was a big deal. But I still couldn't find one that I thought matched me just right. There was one that I thought did a pretty good job, and that was 240. The only thing is, I think it's a little bit yellow for my skin tone. But then Fenty Beauty went and did it. They released 10 new foundation shades as of last Friday when they released their concealers. So they now have 50 foundations. They released 50 concealers. What they did, it's actually quite smart. So if you are a 240 in the foundation, you should be able to pick up a 240 in the concealer and have it be your perfect match. That is if you like a fairly natural look. If you like a little bit more brightness underneath the eyes, they've advised you to go one shade lighter, just kind of play around. But it's a good stepping stone to know where to start. Because I know with 50 shades, you're probably like, how am I gonna find a concealer to match me? But apparently it is very simple. So we're gonna test that today. Let's just quit talking. Let's get right into this. I'm gonna show you what the 235 looks like on my skin. I'm sorry if my voice sounds raspy at any point of this video. I'm still trying to get my full voice back. But anyways, this is the 235. And I'm applying it with my Fenty Beauty foundation brush, which by the way, I am such a fan of. I think it does a really good job at applying the foundation, blending it out, not wasting a lot of product. Check out this side-by-side comparison. I can't get over this stuff. Skin looks flawless, covered everything up, evened everything out. I'm going to leave this side of my face free of any foundation, and we're gonna use the concealers to spot conceal and see how well they do with these little blemishes that I have today. Now, if we are sticking with the Fenty method, I should be able to pick up 235 in the concealer. This is the same shade that I wear in the foundation, and it should be my complementary match. This packaging is, I think, quite cute. I am a fan of the Fenty packaging. I think it looks very sleek. And so this is just like a little mini of the foundation bottle, which I think is kind of smart. I'm just gonna tap this guy right there. That's actually a lot of product. Came off on that first go. And by the way, I picked up the brushes. I am not one to buy brushes very often, but because I love the foundation brush so much, I thought I would try out the concealer. I also picked up the powder brush. So let's give this a go and see if I like it as much as the foundation brush. Ooh. Okay, well that color looks really good for me. Seems to blend into my skull? Seems to blend into my skin really well. The brush is nice and soft so I can stipple with it. Let's try this guy over here. I don't even know what this is or where it came from. I just kind of woke up with it and it was red, and yeah, it's one of those days. That's good though. It totally brought down the redness of it. Now that we're here, I think that I should just kind of cover up all of this, even though I am a foundation first kind of gal. But I want to show you, for anybody that doesn't wear foundation, the power of this concealer, which by the way, I feel like I should read you the details of it. It says it's a creamy long wear, crease-proof liquid concealer with light as air, medium to full coverage that brightens under eyes and conceals blemishes and redness. I'm seeing some coverage, but I definitely think I'm gonna need another layer to get rid of the darkness fully. So I am seeing more of a medium coverage. There we go. We're starting to see a little bit more coverage. I think if you didn't have the dark under eye circles like me, you would think it was pretty good coverage. Whereas I'm thinking it's like a medium coverage. It's a more natural coverage. I've given it about a minute to see how it's gonna work with the skin, and I would say it's different from the foundation in that it doesn't dry down like that formula. This is a little bit more dewy on the skin. Definitely agree with the creamy claim, and I can tell you that this is going to require a powder, whereas the foundation, I always use powder, but I use very, very little because look at it. It dries down on its own. It feels like it's set in place. We're good. Now, because I told you I'm a foundation kind of girl, I'm gonna go ahead and use that all over now, even everything out. Before I go in with the concealer underneath my eyes, I never do this, but I am gonna test the colors right here. This actually might give us a really good idea at colors. So this is 235, that's the one I've just showed you. Now I'm gonna go to 230 because I do think the 235 matched me pretty well, but oh, that is very light. That is 230. That is a totally different tone. I do think the 235, like, it ain't gonna do brightness underneath my eyes. If I was spot concealing, I think it would be great. And this is 220. Wow. The 220 looks so dang similar to the 235. The only difference is I'm seeing more peach. Like, it has a very salmon hue to it, which would be great as a corrector to cancel out the blue underneath your eyes. But I don't actually think any of those work for underneath my eyes because they're not gonna do what I want it to do. They're not gonna brighten. This just got complicated. First impressions are all trial and error, so I am going to use the 235 underneath first. Now I'm gonna use the brush again to stipple this on. I'm seeing, like, if I go like this, there's a nice reflective brightness going on. So I'm gonna move on to this eye. So even though we have some of the concealer already on this side, it's just not the same. So I'm just gonna treat it like I don't have anything on. And this time I'm gonna use a sponge. Right away, I can tell you that was really easy. I think I'm getting more coverage with a sponge. Okay, we've got some creasing going on this side, so we need to get a powder on this ASAP to lock everything in place. Speaking of powders, they released 8 loose powders. I picked up 2 of them because here's how they're supposed to work. So if you wear a foundation color in the 200 range, so if you wear 240, 260, 290, there is one powder that is called Banana for brightening your under eyes, or brightening certain areas, I should say. And then there's one which is called Cashew that you apply all over the rest of your face. Just looking at these powders, I'm not convinced that either of these are my shade. I just don't think it's light enough for my under eyes. And it has a real peach hue to it, and I don't usually like to wear, let me just blend this in real quick so I can apply it and talk at the same time. I don't usually like powders that are colored for underneath the eyes or even the face, just because they change the look. They usually darken up the face, or they change the look of the foundation. So that's the powder. It's not bad. It set everything in place. Very, very mattifying. It feels beautiful. It has a nice satin finish. I don't think that did much for brightening. I was really hoping it was going to, because I have been looking for a really good powder for underneath the eyes that sets and brightens, but I just think that color is too dark for me. Okay, moving on. I also picked up another brush while I was at Sephora. Like, who am I right now? But I picked up the Powder Puff setting brush. I didn't use this underneath my eyes because I just don't think it was gonna work very nicely for under here, although, oh, it feels very, very soft. But I'm gonna use this to set the rest of my face. And as tempted as I was to try this all over, I don't think I'm going to, because the color is really turning me off. That right there on my hand, you can barely see it, but that's cashew next to the banana. And it just looks like it has a little too much pink for me, and it isn't gonna do anything for my complexion. To be honest, I don't think that banana is going to do anything for my complexion, but it's the only powder that I have here, well, from Fenty Beauty. So I'm just gonna use a light dusting of this to set everything in place. I went and I finished up the rest of my face, and now I will continue to wear these products, and I'll come back in a little bit to give you my final thoughts on everything. But right now I just realized I haven't gone over the prices of any of these products yet with you. So for the concealer, this is $32 Canadian, $26 if you live in the US. Not bad. The concealer brush, on the other hand, this costs the same amount as the concealer. So same, $32, $26 in the US. It's a little steep for the brush. I thought that was a bit much. And then you go and throw in the powder puff brush. This guy is $42 Canadian, $34 US. This is the same price as the foundation. So I'm kind of sitting here having a few regrets about buying such an expensive powder brush. All right, guys, I've got my notes. It's been just over 6 hours. I'm gonna try to keep this real quick because I've been editing this video and it's already turning out to be very long, but I'm glad I started to edit because I definitely have seen a few things that we need to talk about. So number one, that foundation shade is not as good as I thought it was, especially on camera. It still looks really orange, like orangey yellow, and I definitely applied way more than I needed to. I don't know, that second layer of it, it's like I always get carried away when I talk on camera, and then by the time I'm done with it, it looks like I'm ready to go perform a concert or something. It's like stage makeup. I don't know where I thought I was going. But anyways, it's still flawless. It was just like a shocker when it was side by side. Second thing, the 235 concealer was a better match for me on its own when I had no foundation on. I think with just a light spot conceal or wearing it as a, like on those no makeup kind of days, I think I could pull it off then. I did like it though. It wore really nicely throughout the day. The coverage is still there, it hasn't worn off. I can appreciate the finish of it, and out of all the products that I tried today, that is the one thing I would say would be worth trying. When it comes to the powders, I'm not crazy about the shades that they released, and I'd be willing to try a lighter shade because I think that's what I need, but there's only 2 lighter options for me, and one is called Lavender. It looks purple, and then I believe there's one called Butter, but after looking at it still, I don't think it would match me. You know what I would love is if they released a translucent setting powder in the same formula. I would definitely be interested in trying that because I did like it. I liked how smoothing and blurring it was, especially underneath the eyes. It went on so nice, and this is the only area that it's really lasted. Everywhere else, and I think it's because I applied it with a sponge, everywhere else I look and feel very greasy. So that is my take on the new products. Let me know what you think of them if you've tried them out. And also, you guys, it's a brand new year. What do you want to see? Let me know what you want my videos to be all about for 2019. And when it comes to product reviews, you guys know I love reviewing foundations. So what's the next one you want to see me check out? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all in next week's video.